Social deprivation. Well, imagine a world where the very connections that define us as human beings slowly dissolve, leaving us stranded in isolation, cut off from the opportunities that fuel growth, security, and our sense of self-worth. This is the harsh reality of social deprivation, a consequence often rooted in poverty. It's more than just a lack of material wealth, it's a gradual erosion of community ties, the exclusion from networks that provide social support, and the absence of cultural or recreational opportunities that bring color and meaning to life. In societies where wealth is often the measure of success, poverty creates a barrier that is not just financial, but social as well. People trapped in poverty find themselves excluded from the conversations, networks, and opportunities that could elevate them, that could give them a voice. But it doesn't stop there. This isolation deepens when the poor are stigmatized, when they're labeled by negative stereotypes. The world begins to see them not as people, but as statistics, burdens, or even invisible. This social deprivation doesn't just affect the individual, it ripples outward, diminishing collective well-being. When one part of the community is left behind, the whole community suffers. People become isolated, alienated, and distant. They're disconnected from the opportunities that could uplift them. And in turn, society as a whole loses out on the richness of their contributions, their talents, their stories. We must understand that social deprivation perpetuates cycles of poverty and alienation. The first profound truth is this: social deprivation isolates individuals from the connections and opportunities that foster growth, security, and self-worth. It traps people in a perpetual state of struggle, reinforcing the very conditions that keep them marginalized. And then there's the stigma. Poverty becomes a label, and that label creates walls between people. Negative stereotypes about the poor create barriers that prevent them from seeking help, from engaging in community activities, or even pursuing the opportunities that could change their lives. These barriers are not just structural, they're emotional, psychological. The reluctance to reach out, to connect, grows with each judgment, each exclusion. But there's hope. It's called social capital. The relationships, networks, and connections that enable people to access opportunities. It's the lifeblood of community, the invisible thread that ties us all together. When we build these networks, when we foster relationships based on trust and mutual respect, we break down the systemic barriers that perpetuate inequality. We begin to build bridges instead of walls. And beyond that, cultural exchange is a powerful tool. It opens the door to mutual understanding, enriching our social experiences and reducing prejudice. By stepping into one another's shoes, we build empathy. And through that empathy, we lay the foundation for unity and collective growth. So, what can we do to restore what's been lost? It starts with recognizing the importance of community. It's about inclusion, mutual support, and breaking down the barriers that keep people apart. It's about realizing that the well-being of one is tied to the well-being of all. In the face of social deprivation, we must choose to rebuild the connections, rebuild the networks, rebuild the shared sense of belonging that gives life meaning and purpose. Because when we do, we don't just lift individuals out of isolation, we lift entire communities. We create a society where everyone has a place and no one is left behind.